Hey guys, what is up? My name is Megan and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I hope you guys are doing well and staying safe, and welcome to today's video, which is super exciting. It is my five-star predictions for 2025. Also, I'm sorry if the lighting is a little bit more yellow than usual. It's been raining a ton here, and no matter at what time I try to film or what I'm trying to do, it always comes out a little bit yellow, so I apologize. Lighting should be better for the next one. But as I was saying, I'm going to talk 5-star predictions. Now, in this video, I'm talking about 5 books that I already own on my shelves that I think will be 5 stars, and I've been very intentional with this. So the way I proceeded to pick my books are, 1, I wanted all of them to already be on my physical TBR. I wanted these books to either be from authors I've already given 5 stars to before, or books that had similar premises to books that I've rated 5 stars, so that I had some kind of like benchmark for what it is exactly I'm looking for in these books. I made sure all of those ratings were over 3.7 stars on Storygraph, because that's usually an indicator of when I personally am going to like a book. And I picked the number 5 not just because like it fits 5-star predictions 2025, but because it's, I think, a reasonable amount of books that I can read in 1 year along with all of my other projects, and it's about how many times I'm estimating I will fall on the 5-star predictions on my Book Hive game, because that's one of the ways where I will be reading these books. So these books I will either read if I fall on the Book Hive game, so I will leave that TBR game down below and up in the cards if you have no idea what I'm talking about. And the other is just if I want to film content or vlogs dedicated to these books, because as I am doing with my self-destruct list, these babies will be wrapped up in brown wrapping paper numbered 1 through 5, and if I fall on the square of 5-star predictions, or if I want to film a vlog, I will use a number generator to pick what book I read, so it's kind of like extra randomized, and it's gonna make the excitement levels a little bit higher, which is what I need ultimately to pick from my own physical shelves. That's how my brain works, so we're gonna trick it with some nice brown wrapping paper. Now, in this video, I have 1 adult fantasy, 2 middle grade books, and 2 romances. I will leave timestamps down below if you only want to navigate to certain parts of the video. And with all of that out of the way, let's hop on in. Let's start with adult fantasy, as there's only 1. I am putting The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England by Brandon Sanderson on here. This is like the longest title I've ever seen. And this is a book I intentionally picked, 1, because I love Tress, which was his first secret project. Like, Tress, all-time favorite now. I also picked this because it has very whimsical vibes, which is what I loved from Tress, and I think that Brandon Sanderson can do whimsy very well. And the premise of this book is that there's this man who is kind of like waking up in medieval England. He has no clue why he's there. He's being chased by a group of people, and he's hoping like to find his way out by like recalling his memories, and that feels very fantastical and whimsical to me. And I think that's where my comparison to Tress lies, not necessarily in the plot, but in the kind of whimsical fairy tale-esque vibes I'm getting from these. I also just really appreciate Brandon Sanderson's writing, and I think the main selling point of Brandon Sanderson is always his characters. I have fallen in love with every single, well, almost every single book character that Brandon Sanderson has created, and I think this one will be no exception. So even if the plot ends up being wonky, I do think the characters will pull through, and overall I'm expecting this to be a very lovely read. I know it's not a fan favorite. I don't think this is anybody's favorite from the like secret projects, but I do believe this one might be well suited for me. And if you were curious, this has a 3.72 on Storygraph. The next book I'm actually really like ashamed to be putting on here because I just did not end up reading it in my December TBR or anytime in the 2024 year, and that is A Funny Story by Emily Henry, which is super unfortunate. I had big plans to read this in December, but they fell through. Emily Henry is one of my all-time favorite authors. Beach Read remains my favorite, and then it's Happy Place, and I believe this one has the same kind of vibes that I'm looking for. So this one has a 4.34 on Storygraph, which is huge, and Emily Henry is just always a hit for me. She is kind of a mixture between literary fiction and romance, in my opinion, and I just always end up sobbing at her books because she has the best balance between lovely relationships, coming-of-age stories, and just hard-hitting moments that always find me when I need them most. And I also think because of the tropes and the topics in here, this could be a 5-star. We have a main character who is a children's librarian, which what a career choice. And these are these two people who end up falling in love or fake dating because they both got dumped, and then like their exes are getting married. They end up being roommates, and it's kind of like friends to lovers, and those are so many of my favorite tropes. So I'm very hopeful for this one. And as always, Emily Henry has been a 5-star author before, as has been Brandon Sanderson with all of his Stormlight Archives, as well as Tress of the Emerald Sea. So both of these I have given 5 stars before, and I am confident. Other romance book I have on here is Team Players by Deanna Gray. This is the companion to Sunny Disposition, which I gave 5 stars. So again, this is an author I've read from before, absolutely loved. This one has a 3.91 on Storygraph, which I think is a pretty good average for an indie romance. And one, I think I'm going to love this because of the writing. Deanna Gray really surprised me in Sunny Disposition. I was absolutely obsessed with that book. I made it my entire personality when I got it. And these were actually gifted to me by a viewer. So thank you again for that. I've been saying thank you since I've gotten these books, because I just absolutely like fell in love with this first book. So I have no doubt that this second book will also bring all the same vibes. This is the story of 2 hockey captains. This is a male-female romance, but they're like both hockey players who kind of have a bet going where our main female protagonist is like the I'm going on a date with you and then I'll like tell you I love you and want to spend my entire life with you, and he's kind of like the playboy who sleeps around, and they have the bet of like who can last longer doing the opposite, and they end up falling in love. I think this is going to be amazing. This is dual perspective. I think it's going to have some harder topics, as did Sunny Disposition, mixed in with a beautiful romance with some like light and fluffy moments as well. And I love the tropes. I love Deanna Gray. I think this is underhyped as well. If you haven't picked up the first book, highly recommend. So I have a feeling this is going to be another incredible book. My 2 middle grade books are the only ones that I haven't read from the authors before, but they are both very reminiscent of other stories that I absolutely adore and talk about all the time on my channel. So the first one I have is Medusa by Catherine Marsh. This is a short middle grade novel. It has a 3.97 on Storygraph, and it is blurbed like from a lot of amazing people, and Catherine Marsh is a National Book Award finalist. So this is pitched as Percy Jackson meets the troubled girls of Dragomir Academy, and essentially this has to do with gods, which is like, I definitely see the Percy Jackson resemblance, and this is why I think I'm going to love this. This follows a young girl who has a little bit of issues with her temper, and at one point she freezes one of her classmates in like a fit of anger, and she is sent to this academy that was created by the gods because she obviously has godly powers, and it's all about her like learning about her powers, and like it's the descendants of Greek monsters. It's a whole vibe. This is heavily like Greek myth inspired, as was Percy Jackson, and I just think this is the kind of book I'm gonna devour because it has the academy vibes, it has mythical creatures, it has a kind of person with powers, but they're not necessarily the chosen one because obviously she did bad things by like freezing someone. I just think it's gonna be a whole vibe. This has gotten great reviews, and again, being pitched as similar to Percy Jackson and the Dragomir Academy is such an amazing combination. I really think this one is going to be an excellent choice as well. And the last book I have on here is Beneath the Swirling Sky, which is the first book in the Restortionist series. This I put on here because of its resemblance to Pages & Co. and obviously Inkheart. I haven't read Inkheart yet, but a lot of people are like, Pages & Co. is like Inkheart. I know Inkheart is the inspiration for a lot of these types of books. So in this story, we follow a family who has the ability to go inside paintings. Now in Pages & Co., Tilly has the ability to go inside of books, but in this one, we have paintings. And our main character learns about all these abilities because her sister goes missing in a painting, and so he goes on this journey within paintings with his cousin to find their sister. And obviously this has all of the magic of like traveling within a craft, and that's what I really loved about Percy my bad, Pages & Co. It felt just so whimsical and amazing to be able to revisit things we already know with such an incredibly different lens and such a magic and whimsy filled perspective. And I think this is definitely going to bring the same thing. And obviously this is a first in a series, so the stakes are pretty much going to be high. Probably some things are going to go awry while they travel in these paintings. And I just think it has all the themes and the kind of plot points that I really enjoy in these kinds of middle grade books. So again, I think I'm going to love this. This has a 4.0 on Storygraph, which is also extremely high for a middle grade, and it just sounds like a fun time. I miss Pages & Co. so much. I wish I could reread them for the first time, and this feels like my second best choice. So yeah, I feel like this is a very, 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 and I just realized this now, oh my god, blue TBR. The blue books are calling to me in 2025. This is insane. I just realized this. I guess it could have been the theme. I thought about so many other reasons to pick them, but they're all blue. Let me know down below which one you think I will like most out of these. Again, these will be wrapped and you will see them on my channel in some way, shape, or form. I hope you guys are excited for the little twist on these 5-star predictions, and yeah, leave me a blue emoji down below if you've made it this far, and I'll see you very soon with another video. Bye guys, happy reading.